All right. Welcome everyone. My apologies for taking so long. I just was able to put my son to sleep, and then I rushed to try to get the cards, and then I realized like I didn't get the right cards, so it took a while to longer than I expected. So my apologies. Here's the list I wanted to try tonight. There's a few people. Shout out to Inigo Runcor for letting me borrow the Badger Mole Cub. Now he and a few others have already 5-0 with a few different lists. Inigo here 5-0 with a fiend artisan centric with a mini elf theme, namely the elf package plus Allosaur Shepherd to round out the fiend artisan package. So it actually looked a lot like the 2023 Eternal Weekend top 8 list, or top the two top forward lists from Eternal Weekend 2023. Um, the big difference obviously was adding the moles instead of the random like one of Bowmasters. I think there was a few other small differences that, in my opinion, not a big deal. Um, but more or less running the 2023 Eternal Weekend list with this upgrade. I think I want to start with Wild Reliquary. There was another list from Ella one that omitted the natural order package and just playing essentially just a very fair deck. I think I'm personally not a fan of omitting natural order, as I mentioned a few times already. But if you win with it, you win with it. And the reason being is I think that only works if you really know your metagame and you know you can dodge like Ancient Tomb, for instance, and know you can dodge something like a DNT. I think you will have some issues if you don't have this package, at least in the 75. I think it's fine to play it in the sideboard. I've done that. Upa has done that to success. I do not think you can just completely ignore the natural order package unless you know you're not going to have to face certain decks. Uh, but yeah, that's just my little tidbit on that. It's already late here. I don't want to waste too much time talking about deck construction. We're just gonna jump right into it, I think. Here are my socials for those of you who want to support me. I can answer questions right now as we wait. I just don't think I want to waste too much time. I'm getting a late start, and um, if this was any other day, hey Joff, if this was any other day, I probably would just not stream. But I did tell Inigo ahead of time I would, and I didn't want to let anybody down. Who I also told my Discord who was waiting for the stream. I think the big thing that will jump out to people is I had the Talongates Madara in the sideboard. I don't know if that's correct or not, but I want to try the maximum number of lands that go with. I think this is not oops. I think this is a forge player. I want to try the maximum number of lands I can fit that go well with Mole. So essentially, have it always on. And I think Wasteland is card I typically have not liked in Cradle Shells. The issue is I think you will have a hard time beating any Planar Nexus deck without it. Now, Allosaur Shepherd helps a little bit, so you can force natural order through. Um, and maybe if the metagame is right for that, maybe that's fine. Um, but I do think you'll have a hard time. Let's just say against Mystic Forge. Otherwise, keep one issue with playing main deck Thoughtseize is you don't really want to lead with it. But if you don't lead with it, you probably die. Not where I really want to be, right? Here, because they go turn on Tamio, I think we just leave with Green Sun and double spell turn two. see, that's smart. I think more people are gonna start to do that. I think against the mole deck. I mean, I think this was the case before. Will this be on YouTube later? Yes, it will. I think in general against the Green Sun deck, you want to force the turn one play regardless. For some reason, 97% of Legacy players don't seem to know that. But if there were a time they're gonna learn, I think they're gonna learn now because like you cannot allow the guy's Cradle player to ramp because they're just gonna play two or three payoffs in the same turn, and your force of will is just gonna look silly. You might as well force their early mana so they can't get into that position. Yeah, see, this it also helps when you go turn one Tamio too. We might be in trouble here. It feels like I'm playing against a Dread Horde, right? Like they happen to have everything. Turn one Tamio into Brainstorm plus Force. It's gonna be hard to beat, I think. It's kind of ridiculous, but whatever. I think we're probably dead. I don't think there's any line that beats that, right? Like, I guess if you have like turn two Shepherd, you'll Shepherd into Dork or something like that. But even then, you're kind of behind, right? It's kind of gross. They got like the perfect hand. I also feel like the time zone I play, the meta is like incredibly good, which hurts my win rate, but I think you get good practice. That or they're just like blindly casting spells. I don't know if they're good or not, but it seems like they know what they're doing. We're just effed, I think. I don't know how I beat this. I should actually do it on the Bayou. I'm just kind of autopiloting at the moment because I think I'm dead regardless. I just don't see how I'm beating outside of I guess top deck. There's nothing that beat this to be honest. I'm not sure any line out of any deck would have beat this their hand right there. Like turn one Tamio, force my turn one play, brainstorm into force again. Like I don't think anything is beating that. They should have ultimated there. It's very odd. I guess their bank. We see more of their deck. I guess. Like I said, I don't think any line here would have beaten what they had. Jeez. And we know they're holding force. I'm just gonna concede. I don't think there's an out. Ugh. I don't know what it is. I think, like I said, I think the time I play, which is this time of night, like it feels like the meta's kind of hard, but that's in the long run good for me. It's just bad for content wise. But I do think, like I said, good long term because I get better practice. But just sucks to lose on stream. Well, I mean, my opponent kind of had the nuts too, for what it's worth. Question here is like, do we board. I think I like the Talon Gates. I really I like the Bog. Um, I think we just keep everything else. I don't respect these control decks. I don't think so. Like, I think we just want to be a combo deck. Like they, um, I don't think so, but I don't think I can keep that. Not looking good. I feel like I kind of have to keep this, and just hope I top deck well. I think I'm sorry. I'm gonna write this game match one as a loss already. I don't think I'm gonna be able to beat this. They probably forced this. Oh, actually, no. They would have forced one Dork. Very odd. I don't know why they don't force turn one Dork there. Maybe they just thought because I have a land already. That's fine. I also think I had the maybe if you want to call it disadvantage of playing later in the night because Mo came out late earlier, and I'm certain the word got around already that the deck's been doing pretty well today. So that could be a reason too, because most people I know or most pilots I play against in Legacy don't know to force turn one dork, and my opponent here has seemed to know that. Let's bash and see what happens. But yeah, maybe this force. Maybe Mole was the card that forces. I'm not sure I buy that. Like that's. I don't think turn one Zenith is weak. It just means I don't have a hierarch. That's all. I would guess like I said, maybe before today, like 97% of legacy players don't know to force turn one dork, and for whatever reason, I don't know why. Maybe because it feels bad, but like if I went turn one like Allosaurus Shepherd, to me that's a really weak start. Or turn one like Queer and Ranger, but like it's at the end of the day, it's still a dork, and I could. It just means I have probably a lot of two drops in hand. I don't read that as a weak personally, but um, I guess if they think, oh, I don't have the redundant dork, maybe it's more devastating. But like I said, I think you should be forcing turn one dork regardless. Not that you think the other guy doesn't have a backup. Like I said, I think this is probably a lost match, but we'll play it out. Also, shout out, like I don't know if you caught it earlier, Inigo, but I mentioned that you 5-0'd and then you let me borrow the moles for tonight. But I think this is a lost cause. It's kind of unfortunate because I drew the wrong side of my deck, I guess, in both games. The first game, I didn't have the second dork, which I guess you could read it as weak, I guess. But now I have the all mana hand is just no payoff, or one payoff that got leyline binding. Yeah, I think the deck probably suits you, Inigo. I think you tend to do more to do better when the game plan is very focused. Which in a fiend artisan list that is the case. I don't answer Kiwi, and I'll tell you why. I think no matter how you slice it, a guy's deck is always gonna be a critical mass deck at the end of the day. Now, there's ways to like mitigate some of the downsides, but I I I think you make it so that you're a little bit more all in if you're on Chromox or ESG. Maybe that's fine, but I personally think it's not easy to do. You can like spike an event here or there, but I think in the long term, that's part of this game. All right, not my day, I guess. Not my day. It's funny. If I had the hand I had last game, it would have lined up really well against this hand, and vice versa. I think I had the wrong hand for their hand. If that makes sense. I'm just probably SOL regardless. If I had the hand I had this hand for last game, I think I'm in a good spot. I think, and vice versa. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. It's probably scoop phase to be honest. If I want to save everybody time, I don't see myself winning this game. They already got a Tamio at 5. Um, I'm not sure what that would have done though, Inigo. Right? Because they went turn one Tamio, and otherwise we just fall behind tempo wise. Now they forced our turn one play. They could have easily just forced the Thoughtseize, right? Obviously we still have the ramp, but I think you just fall behind if you go turn one Seize. Um, like I said, this is for educational purposes, anyways. I don't think really any hand could have beat their turn one, their game one hand, and then we did not have the right hand to line up against this hand. Yeah, that's it. We're not beating this. Do they have any forces yet? They use one. Yeah, I don't see how we're beating this. We're 0-1. I have the unfortunate, or fortunate, depending how you look at it, uh, position of playing against players who have probably heard the murmurings of Mole throughout the day. In the, uh, it's probably, if I were to guess, ultimately a blessing in disguise because the practice is better. That's if I were to guess. But poor for streaming purposes. This person is always on some kind of ancient tomb deck. We'll see if that changes here. I thought about actually adding more dorks, to be honest. Like, I don't have that many great turn one plays. Maybe I just want to play like 10 dorks. But the mapping is not great. The reason why I want to keep Keen Eye Curator for what it's worth is because I foresee there being a lot of more hate, namely Grafdigger's Cage, and I want a card that is like good with the main game plan of ramp, which the Menacing does, and that plays through hate. Like if there's one thing I value a lot, it's kind of what to like Mystic Forge did, where the way they built their mana base is very difficult to hate them out. Oh, I think it's a lands player. What is going on? I wonder if we just waste them here. I think so. The lands mana base is notoriously fragile. Cut them off. Land drops? What is going on? Why did they bin Yavimaya if they didn't play a land drop? Unless they have all the land drops right now. That's possible. Like if they go bin 6 right now into I forgot the land. That would make sense. I forgot what's the land I'm thinking of. Field of the Dead. I'm a little embarrassed I forgot that card for a second because that's where I, you know, piloted Green White Reclaimer in Modern that ultimately get Field of the Dead banned. It was myself, Levi, um, Will, uh, Mox Champion Will, that is, and a couple others. Shout out to Francisco, the original pilot. Sorry, the original builder of that deck, though. LA native. What's going on? They probably just have that eighth land right now or something. There you go. There's the very odd. Why did they? What set is this? Oh, okay. It's kind of cool, I guess. One, two, three, four. Are they gonna blow up my hierarchs? That's fine. Return this card and land card. Just make sure. One, two, three, four. All right. I think we gotta bog them right now. I'll just do it now. Just get rid of that. I don't want that coming back. Do you think something like Ice Tail Ramna is worth it with 3 Wasteland? Maybe. I don't know for sure to be honest. Maybe one. I wouldn't play both. The problem is slots are tight, and the both cards I found a little bit situational and kind of like only good in fair matchups. I think by the time you can Ice Tail against like a Mystic Forge deck, you probably already won, regardless, or close to it. I don't know what's going on here with my opponent. Why are they playing this card? One, two, three, four, five. So they're still kind of off from Field of the Dead. I mean, the other land coming back. It's a lot of work just for a set of Field of the Dead. Mm-hmm. Okay. They do have two Wasteland, which is kind of annoying. Or one Wasteland, I should say. I guess I can eat the Scour with my KEC. One, two, three, four, five, six. They conceded. How funny. Uh, Green Sun for Mole can recycle Bog. Yes, it can. Good catch. I didn't even think about that. I was like so tunnel vision into the thing, but I have to keep that line in mind. But you are right. Yo, Omar, how's it going? Safekeeper probably not doing anything in this matchup. Seemed like they're like some kind of recursive graveyard deck. I don't know if I want force. Doesn't feel like they're a saga deck to me. Maybe they are. I don't know. We didn't see much. No seasons, that's for sure. We probably just have nothing better and just bring in that anyways. The talent gates, I don't think they're on dark depths, but I could be wrong. We didn't see anything that suggested it. I think we boarded it just in case. Force of Vigor probably just in case. And then we just cut a card. Worst one here is probably just a Keen Eye. The Mole is probably pretty good. If we need to get into this weird game state where we cycle talent gates. So that is a line that probably need to be aware of. I know we missed the bog play earlier, but that's not bad. I think we just keep this on the power of Wasteland here. The interestingly had Bayou, so I don't know if that means. I wonder what black cards they have. Like potentially go after their lands here. They're gonna hold up the Wasteland because they know about the Mole too. That's gonna be interesting gameplay going forward. People holding Wasteland because they expect maybe a turn two Cradle Mole or something like that. Hmm. Very funny. So that's kind of interesting. I think we play the Wasteland out. If they waste us, we waste them back. So it's still a 2 for 1. This forces their Wasteland out here. Yeah, I think they have no choice, right? What are they doing? Dismember? Sure, why not? What do they possibly have? Let me think. What am I most afraid here? Not. I don't think much, to be honest. I think we just like go for the kill here. Go for the throat, so to speak. Can they beat a wild reliquary? My guess is no. I think they're screwed. They had to have the second dismember here, and if they did, like they kept a really iffy hand. Like they're more than welcome to waste our lair. I don't think I care. Endurance. That is a weak play. Like they're hell bent with no pressure. That it's a creature we don't really care about. Are you kidding me? Okay. I mean, I guess. Still think we're in a commanding position here. Just pass. Yeah, maybe. Maybe we just nuke their good yard here, so we can start attacking with our endurance. And our endurance is gonna be worth more than theirs. So for whatever that's worth. They could have a second one, I guess. That would be funny. Actually, I messed up. Why did I not play? Why did I not play that noble hierarch there? That's a misplay. I think I was probably just thinking like I want to hold up mana for the Talon Gates, and then I don't want to expose my wasteland to their wasteland. But I think if they wasteland my wasteland, they're only on 2 lands anyways, so it's probably fine. And we do have a Talon Gates backup in case they do somehow have the natural merit lage. So I think they're just likely screwed regardless. For what it's worth, I have enjoyed the gameplay of this. Even where I typically don't enjoy playing against brews. This is not really a brew on there. Well, it sort of is. It's not a traditional lands deck, but I saw Bayou. That's nowhere, you know, stock. So I cost myself 1 point of damage, and they would be at 6. We could potentially have just hard casted the endurance here, and then well, they still have the waste. They can just waste the layer, so I guess it didn't matter. It didn't matter. We're gonna use the restroom real quick. 1-1. Um, I think in that matchup, it forced the removal on the mole, and we just had like other follow up threats. Um, I just think it's a nightmare for lands personally. Like if they don't merit Lages, it's hard for them to beat us. I think, and even then, sure. What do we want to do here? I guess we just do that and just save our fetches. Nice. Just the way we drew it up. Just the way we drew it up for these annoying planar Nexus decks. Get out of here. That might just be game on the spot. That might just be game on the spot. Oh my god. I gotta do it again. That's very fun while it lasted. I have 5 permits and they have none. It's ridiculous. It's pretty insane. Problem is, we need to close this game out. We have a ton of mana now. This is where that one thing that was mentioned earlier would have been nice. The Ice Till. But I mean, they forced our green side anyway, so that's kind of insane. They have all four cloud posts. We have a gazillion mana. Do we care? I guess we just take the one card that matters. I think I want four wasteland, or and maybe more ways to find mole, just based on what I've seen. We're flooding out a little bit, so maybe the land count's wrong, but that's hard to say. Okay, that was a. This is a very hard matchup otherwise, but for what it's worth, we just like triple, double wasteland them into oblivion. I think I want, based on what I see, either a crop rotation or the fourth waste or a ghost quarter even, because they're gonna name wasteland with their flutes. So I think the one thing that's a nice development now is like maybe we want the ghost quarter. We'll see. Gato Teague seems very good in here. We cut these keen eyes that just decent game one card, but otherwise kind of bad. These will deal with their needle flute effects. Collector Oof probably fine. Let me check my sideboard map, see how I board. But this matchup seems completely flipped, just based on what I just saw right now. What am I missing here? I'm off by a card. Oh, no force of vigor. Do I want that? It doesn't seem. Maybe that's wrong. Uh, do I want force of vigor? Right. Mm, I don't know they're this well enough to like speculate on that. How many lands? At 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. Am I gonna get greedy and cut an IMS? Maybe. Yeah, let's try this. I think I want to keep the force of vigor just to try it. Probably a little greedy of me to cut an IMS. This is probably fine. Top decks very well. Just waste them into oblivion, hopefully. If I were to guess, Oh, that was a mistake by me. Okay, I need to remember not to screw that up. Okay, I need to remember against this kind of deck not to play my land drop first because I just screwed myself. They have 3 mana now. Sure. Ugh, that feels bad, but see, I if I had played that better, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in right now, where I just have like all my stuff's dead. Maybe it doesn't matter though because yeah, that cost me the game. The sequencing there. I need to remember not to do that. This is a game losing mistake by me. Because then I can take their I can take either the ring or the chalice depending on what they had at the time. And if I then I don't have to then I can just if I take the ring, which I think that's the correct play, then eventually I can get Gadok T instead of a oof. And that would be better. If I take their chalice, then my whole hand would be unlocked. Regardless, that's a game losing mistake. So I need to remember not. That's old habits decked in, but when I'm playing against a planar Nexus deck, I better not do that. Yeah, that's a game losing mistake. My clock is so slow because of that now. Hmm. But good to learn. And I can't blame it on new play patterns because I started to integrate Wasteland into the deck already. It's just that I think I've only had it come up like twice before, and I remember once. I think another time I did not remember, and I did not remember it now. That's a problem though. I wish this they would just ban this card. There's gonna be future problems because of this card, but that's neither here nor there. I don't think no, they would not because they were able to cast their chalice because the Cloudpost tap for two. Like if I waste their Cloudpost, then they don't have the mana to cast taps for two, unless they have like two naturally. I think we just let that live. They had a mana left because They had a mana left because they played the Glimmer Post. So that's 3 mana, right? If I hit their Cloudpost on turn one, they play the Glimmer Post. That's only 1 mana. I go play my Dork, or I probably let me think about that. I guess maybe I lead with Dork. I don't know, but like I see what you're saying. You're saying because if I go with Dork there, then they have their their Chalice again. Yeah, that's possible. You have a point. Yeah, I think you have a point. I will concede you have a point. It will be the same outcome, just slightly different order. I think I think they can go do it again, like you mentioned. So you do have a point. All right, we're just dead. We just cannot beat this. I don't think. Well, maybe not. We'll see. It's natural order of bust now, but the problem is like this thing can get Phyrexian Metamorph, which is like extremely annoying. I think because we have this macro game plan now, where we just LD these planar nexus into oblivion, the first Ramen is probably worth it, to be honest. Just to like recur Wasteland every turn. I think we just let it go. I don't think I want to give up anything here. So the first one hits nothing. Oh, I guess it hits this. It's kind of annoying. The second one hits nothing at least. I think we're just hosed regardless. They can just lattice us here. I think so too. I think we I think if we're gonna have this supplemental land destruction package, we probably have to commit to it. So maybe the fourth wasteland in the 75. Maybe not the main deck. Because I do think they're you don't want to just like what is going on? This is a creature. Oh, I see. It's a channel remove spell. I guess on top. We're probably just, to be honest, dead. Like I don't know why they're not just like latticing us here. They have a lot of mana, right? Like tower taps, like tower and nexus taps with 4. That's 7 already. Like we should just be dead. Although they strangely tapped everything. I guess we can see more of their deck. Most still ramps for what it's worth. That's actually why I'm playing the very sophisticated mana base that I am tonight. I think you have to play in a way where Mo is always on, if that makes sense. Like the Dork's always on, the land's always on. F6. I think we're just dead. why they didn't lattice us. I guess it doesn't matter. They have like two goifs that we really can't deal with. Just like I guess. Having seen what I just saw there, I think we can cut a dork and actually we already did. Play the Force of Vigors. We cut a land. I think we do want the Force of Vigors. Not having the thing is a little awkward though. Losing to a Bargoyf is like very awkward. Force of Vigor better than Kenai? I don't think so actually. But we'll keep it. We'll for science. The game about Kenai is a clock. Sure. Like this is what like control mages play now because like true control decks are just dead. I think here I want to go fetch Bayou once ignoble and see what it hits. I do think you're right. Probably need to play four Wasteland, especially if we're playing for Once Upon a Time. I think it's just too much like synergy, whatever you want to call it. There, I know, right? I do think Ramnat's well, it's hard to say. Feels like Ramnat's might is probably the correct call. I think the decks you want it, you really want it, and being one mana off is probably game losing. There's the mole. So I think what I'm gonna do here is like the rest my opponent, play the white, and then the following turn probably main phase white activate for wasteland, and then mole hit the wasteland or target the wasteland. And then hopefully they don't have a needle effect and just like try to go ham there. Triple force of will. Okay. I guess we'll take. Do we take a land here? No, I think we just take the only card that matters. At least they don't have nothing. They don't have anything left. Wow. Okay. I think I'm gonna lead with the safekeeper in case they want to like force it for some reason. Yeah, once finding both mole and waste is kind of sick, and it kind of makes me want, especially now that we're relying. Oh, nice. So they fell for the bait. They fell for the bait. This is so if we win, there's an asterisk on this game because my opponent just like threw for no reason. That's one of the deck, one of the strengths, of, one of the hidden weaknesses of this deck. Let's see what they got. Do we want ring or K command? Probably K command. Well, K command can cycle earlier. Maybe they get, yeah, maybe this. Get them out of the game. Both cards are horrible design. Which ones are you talking about? Oh, K command and ring. Yeah, sure. They just have no more lands. That should be game, right? Did it freeze? Force of vigor, mole, natural order, fetch. I think in this case, maybe not mole, and maybe get the water the reliquary, find more wasteland. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're dead anyways. All right, I'm pretty impressed with the wasteland package. I do think we probably have to commit more to it. Three may not be enough. I think you really want mole to be consistent, and if you want this as just like a tertiary plan against certain decks like Planar Nexus, you probably need the fourth wasteland, the sideboard or something. Like we already are playing a super aggressive um mana base in the sense that I like cut everything else to make room for three guys, Cradle still, and three wasteland. Like historically never been done. Where a deck has had six total of these cards. The most I've seen is five. So Maverick did four wasteland, one guy's Cradle, but nobody's ever done six. Mm, Our opponent Bogon Legend is 4-0, playing Epic Gamble. We're on the draw. I feel like we're gonna have to go turn one C's and just pray that's enough. Oh, to go up to 23 lands? Maybe. I was just thinking about the fourth. Because right now I want to play exactly 22 lands because 23 is like flood territory. But maybe that's okay when you're playing that many wasteland. I really wanted the disruption main, right? Like either some combination of endurance plus Thoughtseize, the number count is 4 at least. And then the post board, maybe you can like play the fourth wasteland board out bog in some matchups. Like I don't want to go get into like flood issues, which this deck is historically that's one of the problems. But I rather err on the side of caution than greed. What's going on here? Okay, that's pretty bad for us. The reason why I'm not doing for Wasteland main also is because some decks just are not weak to it. So, for instance, our own deck is not really that weak to it. These basic land archetypes like DNT or like Moonstomp are not really weak to it. At least not often weak to it. Oh, this is the Spider Punk card. I think we fetch here and then out and pray. 14 is like the lowest I want to play for what it's worth. And I'm at that already. Like I actually really want 15, and I'm already in my eyes slightly greedy with 14. Also, you want your onces to find better cards than have to find your initial mana source, right? That's one thing I learned when I first incorporated Once Upon a Time. Like it's better to just not be greedy. Oh, I apologize. I didn't think to move my mic closer. Hopefully that fixes it now. Thank you for the feedback. Is this better? Bear with two guns. All right, we gotta pray. We get another turn here. Okay. I know this was an issue in the past where I was too quiet. I have not fixed that issue completely, but let me see if just moving the mic closer will help. I would speak louder as well. Please pass. We're probably just dead. Or not. The reasoning is I wanted to maximize the power level of Mole, and I wanted to fit the highest number of Guy's Cradle plus Wasteland possible. Mm, oh my god. I forgot I don't have the collector move main, so I'm just screwed. All right. I guess I have to get the white. Well, that is punt number one. So I needed to waste the saga there. I mean, that's probably not gonna be the reason why I win or lose, but coming up here where not having the collective is gonna hurt me. It may still be worth it not to play main overall. It's hard to say, but that is one downside. Yeah, here's the collective. I just think we're just hosed now. To be honest, I'm not sure it matters. They have a Burning Wish deck. Well, I guess I don't know if they have what kind of sweepers they have, but the Safekeeper I guess could have protected the collective with all the artifact and post decks running around. I don't think Collective Oof is actually that good against the post decks. And maybe it's better now based on what I have, but in general, you should beat the artifact decks regardless. I don't even think it's that good there either. But the post decks I have not found it good. But that's neither here nor there. And like I said, the artifact decks they don't really care about it anyways. And so like these artifact decks in my experience, they like can beat artifact hate. They build their deck in a way that is like pretty resilient. Like for example, the planar nexus decks, they their entire mana base is not even hit by artifact hate. Now maybe three keen eyes is too much. But we'll see. Or you cut a Thoughtseize, right? Move it to the sideboard. I've not found like Force of Air to be that good for the reasons I just mentioned. Actually, where these artifact combo decks just can play through it. Like if I'm gonna play a card disadvantage card, it better be a haymaker. And I haven't felt like Force of Vigor has been that in a while. Four. Yeah, they can be whatever, like tailored towards the meta game. I think that's probably accurate. Like you don't really want, I guess, to draw like multiple keen eyes too, even though they're very good. What is Flash Dongs? Hey, Horain, how's it going? Everin. Oddly enough, it's the new deck. I haven't been following to be honest. So I don't know what it is. Is maybe it's the new Blue Legend. I know that's like a thing where it like hoses searching effects. Let me bring up this Flash Dogs deck that Everin is talking about. Mm, one knows. Okay. Again, I have not seen any of these cards played out yet, so I. Oh wow, this looks pretty strong. Not having the collective is going to cost me this game, but it is what it is. Maybe I do need to play the collective main. Sacrifice one of the keen eyes. I do kind of want a I do sort of want a grist anyways, because people do random things like board into Goyf out of their post deck, and maybe three keen eyes like fine. I do think I want all four seasons main. Like I don't I feel naked if I don't have that kind of at least removal. Is the new format better or worse for Cradle? Great question. I would guess it's hard to say because I haven't really played this past week, and I knew we were kind of in like a waiting period because for Mole to come out. Um, So two things happened. We lost one of the best reasons to play this deck, which is Reanimator. But at the same time, Nadu, while we can beat it, was stressing our sideboard a little bit. And depending on how you build the deck, if you build it to beat Reanimator game one, you probably will lose the Nadu game one. So there's like the cards that are good against Reanimator tend to not be good against Nadu. So that's kind of a wash, I feel. And Tomb being banned definitely is helps. If I were to guess, we're kind of more or less in the same shape, except with the printing of mole, we should be better. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, Delver being blue red being the most popular variant probably helps too. Two top decks being tempo. What's the other top deck being tempo besides the blue red? I agree. Tempo is good for us. I would rather play against Tempo than Reanimator because Reanimator has more ways to cheese games. It's more difficult for Tempo to cheese games against Cradle. I don't think the Kaido deck's real. Uh, I think blue red is a lot better personally. Like the showcase, if you go by that, I know that's not the end all. Basically, Demir had no results. Like I saw like one player, two if you count the Salt type version, but like very meager compared to blue red. If you look at the showcase, like top finishes. All right. Got caught up for a second. Don't even remember what they're playing. Just waste even doing that? Yeah, probably. I guess. Keen eye, probably not. Cub here is just ramp. It's probably better than a white, to be honest. Although white finds wasteland, but maybe that's too slow. Bargoyf just hoses Delver though, right? Yes. I guess if you want an advantage of the mirror. Okay, so that's the thing. Dating back to when Grixis Delver was like the most popular deck, I never really felt like that was the best deck. So I would back when in 2023 when there was two flavors of Delver, Rug and Grixis. I thought Rug was the much better deck. Granted, it had the better mana base because green was really for questing druid. Because I don't like put too much stock in trying to just win mirrors. I think I want the better deck against the field, but that's me. Format's a lot more open. I think initially that is maybe bad for Cradle because ideally you want to know what the best decks are, but once that's established, I think Cradle is like very good at adapting. I think like when it's just the Wild West like it was last week, probably not the best for Cradle. Um, but I think like a few weeks in, when the cream rises to the crop, so to speak, then Cradle is a lot better. I think I take out Bog, maybe one white feels slow. Like also, I am of the minority. I think Bowmaster is not a good card, but and that's good. I know some people are just gonna push back on that, but Oops is fine personally. It's like very 50-50, but like you can if you want run like main deck endurance. It's just it's more annoying than anything else. But yeah, I would say the first week of a new format probably not the best for Cradle. At least the way I like to build it, which is more like resilient, less susceptible to like meta shifts, less susceptible to just like opening with the nuts or like there's just less variance in the way I build a deck. And I think the week one is not particularly great for Cradle, especially without Mole, right? Um I played the first round of the showcase on Sunday, um, and I played against Mono Black, and I got opposition agent, like, and there's not really anything I can do. I probably misplayed too, to be honest, and it was probably a blessing in disguise because I ended up having to do something else anyways, so I couldn't have played even if I won. But that's just kind of what I mean, right? Cradle doesn't want to play like the most random things. Hmm. So they're gonna gamble. They hit the LED. Just take the gamble. They're gonna play the land. I'm gonna waste them. I'm not gonna get greedy here. I think I just want to waste now in case they hit another gamble, right? Um. So question here is, oh, I can do both. Why am I sweating this? Oops. I better. I need to sequence this correctly. That's pretty neat. Can do both. Is Bayou a green creature? It is not. I wish, but it's not. Why don't you need to tap the forest, my god? I know. I just did it. I understand that. I actually screwed up. I meant to float a black for what it's worth. But yeah, I understand. I'm not. I'm aware. I just went through it quickly. I can count bear with two guns. I better be careful. So I screwed myself up because I tapped wrong. I meant to tap the black, float a black, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, like I said, I tapped wrong, but I meant to float a black and then do it. So I can like have the thought and not waste a trigger there. And then here now I can like pitch the bayou. That's pretty neat. I think I just get a guy's cradle here. Well, let me see. How much damage do I have? Is layer lethal? 8 plus 5. That's 13. Yeah, I think that's lethal. All right. What are we doing here? So one thing that Mole does that I don't think is appreciated is it helps mapping a lot because it can stay in a lot more matchups than like a curator, which is like graveyard dependent. I think I like the way I boarded. I don't think they're gonna like try to. Something I like to do a lot is people will play around endurance naturally, so I just like board out my graveyard hate, and they just play around it regardless. So you get like free equity there. I mean, there's sometimes they can't do it, so it's sometimes you want to like leave it in a bog or something, but I don't think that's gonna happen here. There are certain players I think I give the benefit of the doubt that they can figure out what they need to play around, and because of that, I don't have to actually show it. And there's other players where unless I like spoon feed it to them, no block for Echoes of Rite of Flame. It doesn't work against Echoes really. Rite of Flame kind of minor, but yeah, I somebody that I will typically give the benefit of the doubt that they can figure out what they need to play around is like a Storm player. I will give them that benefit that they can figure out they're not gonna run into an endurance or like that when they don't have to. Uh, so I may board out the graveyard Hay, for instance, against some variants of Storm. Now, if I have nothing else, then I have no choice. But like if I have like extra cards I can bring in, for instance, probably just dead here. We're on the draw. That is one thing Mole does not solve. Being on the draw against fast combo. Especially when they know that. They just like mulligan to like three and just because they have Echo and LED in their deck. So it's just not gonna matter. What's going on here? Oh, they're probably just getting a Echo and then they're gonna pitch it to LED. Yep. I don't think there's really anything I could have done about that. Like the only thing that really stops Echo is Layla on the Void. Or I guess Mindbreak Trap, which I don't really want to play. This hour of the night too, there's generally a ton of combo, which hurts the stream, but good for the long term practice, I guess. Sure. So just F6. Yeah, that card is sick for sure. All right. What are we doing here? I think we just wasteland them here, to be honest. No, I don't think so. It just feels not good enough anymore. And I say that with it as my favorite card. Um, they get 2 cards per turn, so they can go like guide into wish or something, which would have happened. So that probably just saved me. Wonder what we do here. Do we ever know for? We probably we do in this situation. So the obvious question is, why did I do that instead of play the arbor? Is because I'm afraid of a wheel effect here, and I want the cradle. If we can pat if we untap, we probably win, and they know this too. Like we have 5 cards in hand and enough mana now for natural order. Does it matter when we have 3 cradles? Maybe I'm not understanding your question. The chances of wheeling into a cradle are not high, or not over 50%. Maybe I should rephrase that. What just happened here? Oh, they exile the echo, but they can't. How funny. And they can wish, but what? Why did they cast their wish? Maybe they have nothing to wish for. No, they discarded their wish. It does not. Drow Hunter. No problem. Yeah, live and learn, right? I think here we just shut off everything. A collective shuts off everything, I think. I think I just pass. I think I'm gonna spoil my opponent's 5-0. Actually, I'm gonna seize first, see what they have. Void Snare, okay. That's relevant, I guess. Do I put them on a 1 turn clock or get another hate bear? It feels like I get another hate bear. Yeah, I think that was good. All right, we beat Storm. Only loss right now was to, I don't even remember what we lost to. GG's Lotto Carnage. GG's. Yeah, I think I was debating between the Atraxo or the Teague. Teague feels pretty safe there. I don't, and they're on a 2 turn clock already. Have you cast the mole yet? Yeah, it was just nuts with Wasteland against the Cloudpost deck. I don't remember what we lost to. Anybody remember who did we lose to against Surrender Monkey? Oh, it was the control player that like we drew the wrong part of our deck. Okay, I'm gonna use the restroom again. Yeah, I think so too. Um, my initial impressions right now are I do think I think Wasteland might just be too good not to be playing the full four in the 75. Maybe like I don't mind the 3-3 split because guys Cradle obviously you want to be proactive at the same time. Not every deck is weak to Wasteland too, like only some. We just play the most aggressive mana base with as little frills as possible. It kind of feels like to me I don't know if this is good at the moment. Stuff out. I do want it in the 75 still, even if it's not particularly well positioned or there's like no Nadu left, but there's still like Cephalid Breakfast. I'm sure there's gonna be some other creature combo decks. Energy is the thing. So I think I like these six black cards. I like the collective, and I think I like at least three endurance, if not the full set. I think to me, the two Force of Vigors, the Teague, and the Talon Gates have felt like the worst cards. Decay. This is probably gonna sound controversial. I think Decay is uh training wheels. I don't think you should be I don't I think you should be able to beat Bargoyev without two mana removal. I think if you want to play removal, you can play Gris. I think two mana removal is like pretty bad to me. And it's one of those things you just if it were me, I would not play two mana removal. I'll put it that way. Unless I have no other choice. I think you're better off just playing like the first Gris. And also Bargoyf's like your keen eyes are just like very good against it too. Yorion. Sure, why not? I know the power level of Water the Reliquary diminishes a little bit. Uh because what are we doing here? Do we do that? I think so. We have two black cards in case they like deal with the hierarch. We want to be have a turn one play. This will be interesting. From a sequencing perspective, we can go mole into. I almost feel like we seize here, and then based on what our opponent does, I almost want to just force the white through. They're on D and T. Okay, no removal. Okay, I think that's probably fine. Lion Sash, kind of a bad card against us. It feels like Recruiter's the only relevant card. I think we just force the mole through. I mean the white through, and then go from there. It's the most powerful card, and if they have removal, I think I just want to like strand it. They're gonna Lion Sash, which kind of an irrelevant card against us. I think given that they're fetching basics, they fetch. They still have a Vista in hand, right? The mole right here, actually, if I actually that doesn't matter. Actually, I messed that up. I should have one more mana, and I like butchered it. I should have been able to do everything I wanted there. Yeah, I'm poor sequencing by me because if I did it correctly, I mole onto the Gaia's Cradle. I would have had one extra mana, and then I should have preemptively ate the Thoughtseize and the Once Upon a Time to not give my opponent a chance to eat it. Sure, they can do that. Sure. My opponent messed up too, I think, for what it's worth. Do I just waste them here? Probably. No, I think I do. I just keep cutting my opponent off mana. No, well, it's hard to say. Yeah, let's get the layer and just like win the game instead of messing around. It's a lot of damage. Not having the Talon Gates here hurts, but that's okay. Didn't matter. Otherwise, I can like phase out. It's a little dangerous to do that against a solitude deck for what it's worth. All right. That was interesting. Do we want to snuff out in this matchup? The seasons I like because they usually play Wrath of the Skies. I do like the Talon Gates too because of Wrath of the Skies and like random things like that. Uh, I don't think we need a board and snuff outs anymore. As crazy as that sounds. I don't like collector for some of this other stuff. Snuff out like usually there's no targets. Like you don't care about their line stash. You don't. They have a bunch of ETB people. The only one that really matters is like Stoneforge Mystic. Um, maybe two snuff outs in this. Kenai was actually kind of good there, ironically enough. And proactive too. I think with the talent gates is probably fine. Let's just run it back. More creatures tend to be good in this matchup, and I don't want like to be stranded with removal. Ugh. How funny. So the funny thing here is Talon Gates cast Cub. I think we keep and put the Kenai back. It's the weakest card. I think we take the fetch. Looks like a Felia coming. Huh. I can recur a wasteland here. I'm just not sure that's worth it. Maybe. Let me think. If I go Talon Gates, they can like swords with a thing on trigger on the stack. But then the ignoble would make 2 mana. I, I wonder if that's worth it. I could also just try to like constrain my opponent's mana right now. I don't know how fragile their mana base is. I'm because I'm thinking that maybe that may or may not be the right best value play. It probably is, but we'll see. Like Safekeeper tends to be really good here too, but maybe there's just too much value not to do it. I don't know. Like if they're flooded, then it could be bad for us too, for what it's worth. And you had that question earlier, like why do we waste the ancient tomb? So for whatever that's worth. Yeah, see, I kind of hate doing this against a Yorion deck because now they're like on the aggressive, right? I kind of want to force my own play through, but maybe that's okay. Like, and especially since the Wasteland doesn't really cast anything. Yeah, see, got the Stoneforge back. Maybe we're forced to trade here. But the tomb doesn't give them pips and all their monks. Uh, yeah, but the failure can't attack anymore. I don't know. Bear, you're like kind of getting distracting me. So I think we're just probably just screwed now, right? We cannot stop their Overlord combo. Um, I think that alone, maybe we need to keep Snuff out in. So at least they don't have any pressure. I think that is the conclusion I came to right now. Then we just let this go. Yeah, see, I don't love the Wasteland place. Okay. Do not love the Wasteland play because I don't think that really furthers our game plan. That's at the end of the day, that's the problem I have with that card. It probably would not have, but I think I like protecting. I think development board better to play towards the natural order out. No, I don't think Force of Vigor is worth it. I think we absolutely need to take the Overlord off the board. All right, thanks. Have a good day at work. This is gonna be interesting. What we're able to do right now. This is kind of gross, actually. Safekeeper is just nuts in this matchup. Too bad the Talon Gates is gone. Would have been nice to have. I don't even know what this. It's the new LD sword, I think. I think it targets. Cub over white. Um, because I want to grind out my opponent here. They got the meteor sword. That's fine. I think I'm getting the lair here. I guess I could have gotten the white. I just didn't want to. I wanted another threat to make big. If that makes sense. Take the meteor sword. Uh, I'll just take that. They're not gonna attack with the Overlord, and I don't have the mana to tap out anyways. The thing about white is I would not have had any fodder to pitch. Sure. It's not gonna matter what they do. Sure. Yeah, I guess that's kind of funny. Mm, I think I'm just gonna do that. Trying to cross the finish line here. See what my opponent has. Okay. Oh, oops, sorry. My apologies. We got there. That was closer than it needed to be. I think I was happy with that line. Maybe it's correct to. It's hard to say. I'm not sure if getting a white would have been better there, but I definitely wanted something to pitch. I wanted something to pitch to get the layer out. Now maybe there was nothing else on board that I was like happy pitching. So it felt like the value play. I don't know if that was I don't know if that was a white or not. 4-1, we lost the first match. Like I said, deck felt really good. There's like four slots I think I'm unhappy with. Namely the Force of Vigor, the Gadok Teague. The Talon Gates actually was like we didn't get to do it, but there's some crazy plays you can make with it and Badger. Maybe it's worth keeping around. I don't know. But like Definitely did not feel like these were needed. Thank you, Drow 2995. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the stream. The deck felt very strong. Mole was impressive. It made Wasteland so much better, and I think I want the fourth in the 75. Did anybody else have any questions for me? Deck felt good for what it's worth. I forget which opponent like threw the game against me, but that's neither here nor there. All right, let's see who I can raid. When is the next stream? Good question. If I were to guess, probably, hopefully, definitely, hopefully before Eternal Week in Europe, so more people can get like more looks at this deck, so they can, if they want to play Eternal Week in Europe, they can. Excuse me. Good question. I'm hoping the way it's looking right now today is Tuesday. Um, Probably not Friday. Probably not tomorrow either. I'm thinking maybe early next week or this maybe during the weekend. I don't know. I was on cutting keen eye for grist and oof. Great question. We lost game one because we didn't have the oof against the storm player. I don't know how often that's gonna be. The grist is I think situationally nice. Uh, I'm not sure like what matchups did we like the grist maybe is like worth it against maybe the grist is worth it against these Cloudpost decks that board into like the Bargoyf plan, but then you have Badger to like fog them forever anyways. Um but I and you have discard to clear the way for Wily the Reliquar, which can also deal with Bargoyf. Maybe that's fine. I don't like to play cards unless I absolutely need to. And the only card I really felt like I should have had that I did not was the fourth Wasteland. Yeah. So I and the Talon Gates felt like it was like relevant once, so that's potentially reason to keep it. The I didn't feel like I needed the Gadok Teague, and it did not feel like I needed the Force of Vigors. So maybe those can be something else. Great question though. The main deck felt good. I like Kina a lot because they're just really like solid all around, right? It's rarely bad per se. And I just need more cards that like are good all the time, if that makes sense. Um, it is a big beater in fat. Yeah, exactly. Thoughts on a higher cost threat like the Green Initiative or Deathclaw? Good question. So I think there is some merit to like a Ramanat or something because like if you're gonna commit to the LD plan, you have to commit to it. I feel, and that's where the fourth wasteland comes into play. I think you because the minute you get that lock going, it's gonna be really difficult for them to win. And I don't know, maybe it's too redundant with getting a white. The problem is like if you tutor for a white, you have to wait another turn too. And the thing and that turn might be the difference between winning and losing. Like not being able to get the LD on time. Because more often than not, you're gonna have to LD before you get to combo with Mole. At least the first one. Instead, maybe Ice Tail. The reason why I don't like Ice Tail is I think for the matchups, I really want the LD recursion. I really want it, and I don't need those cards in the fair matchups. Like I think you win. I think either of them are gonna play. I think the difference between 4 mana and 5 might be the difference between winning and losing against a player Nexus deck. The league went well. We lost the first match against Control, in which we drew the wrong hands against their hands. Like if we drew the second hand against their first hand or vice versa, I think we probably would have won at least one, if not both. It does, but I just think a recurring LD is just gonna win the game regardless for what it's worth carrying Lich. Like, and I think the difference between, like I said, 4 and 5 is potentially the difference between winning and losing in the matchup you want it for. But I get it. Like you win in style for sure with Ice Tail. It's just I'm not sure you need all of that. But good question. So potentially that's another card alongside the wasteland we play. I don't know what the force of vigors need to be, but we'll see. You do the what I'm saying is you may not always have 5 mana to green sun for ice tail. Like that 1 mana might be the difference, like in winning and losing. That's all. That's what I'm saying. I've had it come up where like I've had exactly 4 mana to green sun for Ramanat, or exactly 3 mana to cast Ramanat, right? Or I don't want to have 4 mana. Sorry, I don't want to have 3 mana and holding Ice Tail in my hand, or 4 mana and holding Green Sun in my hand. Then you just lose the game, right? Because you couldn't get the LD online. I know it's only 1 mana, but that 1 mana in the matchups where I want it can be the difference between winning and losing. Like I said. All right. Great questions. Any other questions? Unfortunately, I don't have play points to give out anymore. They have discontinued that for me. But it was nice while it lasted. I appreciate the questions though. Well, we can raid Young Dingo, I guess. All right. Thank you everyone for hanging out.